For nearly 2 decades, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban seemed untouchable. The golden couple of Hollywood and Nashville whose love story was admired by millions. They appeared flawless, balancing glamour, artistry, and devotion in a way that suggested fame didn't have to ruin romance. Yet in 2025, that illusion came crashing down. Within days of Keith quietly moving out of their Nashville home, Nicole filed for divorce, revealing a story she had kept private for years. A story of exhaustion, emotional distance, and a woman who finally decided she could no longer protect a man who had stopped fighting for her. Behind the smiles, the red carpet poses, and the whispered declarations of love, the perfect Hollywood marriage was quietly falling apart. The golden couple's beginning, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's love story, began in 2005 at the Good Day USA Gala in Los Angeles, a celebration of Australian talent abroad. Nicole, 38 at the time, was still glowing from her Oscar win for The Hours, but privately carrying the scars of her previous divorce and the painful loss of custody of 2 adopted children. She had rebuilt her career, her reputation, and her strength, yet the ache of lost family remained. Keith, 37, was a rising country music star whose songs reflected his personal struggles and years spent battling substance abuse. To the world, they seemed like opposites, but to each other, they were mirrors, 2 broken souls seeking stability, connection, and understanding. A slow-burn connection. Their connection wasn't a whirlwind, tabloid-style romance. Keith admitted it took him months to finally call Nicole after their first meeting, overwhelmed by her presence and unsure how to approach someone so accomplished. When they did finally speak, their bond was undeniable. By June 2006, they were married in an intimate, candlelit ceremony at St. Patrick's Estate in Sydney. Nicole was radiant in a Balenciaga gown, and Keith serenaded her at the reception. Friends called it a love story written in gold. But fairy tales rarely survive the realities of life. And just 4 months after the wedding, Keith checked himself into rehab for alcohol addiction, an event that blindsided Nicole and began testing her capacity for forgiveness and patience. Fighting for love. Instead of walking away, Nicole stayed. She visited him in treatment, protected him from headlines, and reassured friends and fans that love meant endurance, commitment, and forgiveness. For Nicole, it wasn't just about Keith. It was about the family she had once lost and the stability she longed to preserve. Over the years, she maintained the image of a perfect marriage while quietly navigating the challenges of her husband's career, addiction struggles, and the pressures of fame. Keith publicly praised her as his saving grace, and Nicole reciprocated, often referring to him as the man who brought her back to life. Their devotion appeared unwavering to outsiders, but behind the scenes, the cracks were growing. The arrival of family life. In 2008, the couple welcomed their first daughter, Sunday Rose, followed by Faith Margaret in 2010. From the outside, it looked idyllic. Hollywood's disciplined queen and Nashville's wild heart united by love and family. Yet long tours, late-night performances, and lingering shadows of past struggles began to erode the bond they had worked so hard to preserve. Nicole waited up for calls that often never came. Keith sought solace in music, distance, and work, leaving Nicole to shoulder the emotional labor of maintaining their household and family cohesion. Even the most graceful woman has her limits, and over time, the marriage that had once been a source of strength became a delicate performance, carefully curated for public view. The image of perfection. By the mid-2000s, Nicole and Keith's public image had become an essential part of their brand. Magazine covers hailed them as Hollywood's last real marriage, a couple who defied the odds and embodied enduring love. On stage and on camera, Keith would kiss Nicole's shoulder and whisper to her for the audience. Nicole returned the gestures with grace, smiles, and elegance. Yet insiders noticed the tension beneath the surface, the forced laughter, subtle flinches, and fleeting moments of hesitation. Nicole had become the anchor in a relationship that was slowly drifting apart. Keith felt constrained, no longer the man being rescued, but the man resisting rescue. Their love had quietly transformed into a balancing act where every gesture, word, and look was calculated for perception rather than authentic connection. The early signs of distance. By 2023, rumors began to circulate that they were living increasingly separate lives. Keith spent more time away on tours, while Nicole focused on her film career. Though Nicole fought to maintain the family structure, the silence between them grew louder each day. In early 2024, while filming Practical Magic 2 in London, Nicole's friends noticed subtle changes in her voice. Soft, uncertain, distracted. She spoke less of Keith in the present tense, and her attention to work became a refuge. Meanwhile, Keith quietly set up his own residence in Nashville, a signal of a decision already made in his mind. The marriage was over, even if Nicole didn't yet know it. The quiet departure. For months, Nicole believed they were navigating another rough patch, answering tabloid questions with calm assurances that marriage takes work. Yet Keith had stopped returning calls, skipping family dinners, and gradually withdrawing from shared life. By June 2024, the separation was complete in practice, if not legally. Nicole returned from London to find their Nashville home empty. No confrontation, no dramatic exchange, just absence. For someone who had spent years believing love could conquer all, the silence was devastating. And while rumors hinted at other relationships or distractions in Keith's life, Nicole remained composed, determined to protect her daughters and herself from unnecessary upheaval. The divorce announcement. On September 30th, 2025, Nicole filed for divorce just a day after Keith's move became public. The filings cited irreconcilable differences, though the documents reflected nearly 2 decades of shared history, loyalty, and unspoken heartache. Those close to Nicole understood the filing was not an act of vengeance, but an acknowledgement of reality, a closure she had finally decided to claim. She requested primary custody of Sunday Rose, 17, and Faith Margaret, 14, while Keith would have the children for 59 days a year. No spousal support was requested. Money was never the issue. Nicole's priority was preserving a sense of stability and normalcy for her daughters, a family structure she had fought to rebuild after previous losses. Keith's response and public reactions. Keith's reaction was swift and public. Just days after the divorce became official, he performed on stage in Pennsylvania, noticeably absent of his wedding ring. He altered the lyrics of a song, transforming them into a message that suggested he, rather than Nicole, was the one left behind. Fans and media alike were stunned by the subtle, emotional statements embedded in his performance. Nicole, meanwhile, remained dignified, choosing silence over public confrontation. Her heartbreak was private, but her composure was visible, reflecting the strength that had carried her through previous personal trials. The secrets uncovered. In the weeks following the divorce announcement, Nicole broke her usual silence in measured ways. She granted a Vogue interview shortly before the public filing, speaking with a soft honesty rarely displayed in her public persona. Reflecting on life, she acknowledged the unpredictability of relationships and the realization that control is often an illusion. Friends described her as reflective, rueful, and quietly aware that the marriage's end was inevitable, even if her heart still held love for Keith. She admitted that loyalty had become her prison, and that the years of emotional labor she invested could no longer sustain a one-sided partnership. The reality of love and loss. Though the separation was painful, Nicole's focus remained on her daughters and her own well-being. She accepted that she could not save someone who had already chosen distance. Even in the face of reports about Keith's behavior on tour, Nicole refrained from public retaliation. Instead, she sought quiet dignity, protecting her family from further disruption and focusing on the aspects of life she could control. Friends noted that for the first time in years, she wasn't playing the role of caretaker or rescuer. She was simply being herself, a mother and a woman navigating heartbreak with resilience. The aftermath and moving forward. By late October 2025, the initial media frenzy had begun to subside, yet Nicole's life carried a new tone. She was seen in Nashville with her daughters, calm and centered, a stark contrast to the storm that had just passed. She acknowledged the pain, but refused to let it define her. For Nicole, the hardest part wasn't the loss of Keith, but the realization that he had given up long before she did. The marriage, once a source of love and partnership, had become a silent performance that neither could sustain. Now, she faced the aftermath with quiet determination, turning heartbreak into a process of rediscovery and personal strength. The legacy of their love story. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban's marriage was a complex narrative of love, loyalty, struggle, and heartbreak. They survived hardships many could not endure, from addiction battles to the pressures of fame. Yet in the end, the realities of human needs and emotional distance prevailed. The perfect Hollywood marriage may be gone, but what remains is a story of resilience, of a woman who chose to honor her values, her children, and herself above the illusion of perfection. For Nicole, the chapter has closed not with bitterness, but with the quiet assertion of self-preservation, dignity, and unwavering love for her daughters. A woman who finally walks away. Nicole's final choice to step away was both heart-wrenching and empowering. She once believed love could conquer everything, but she learned that even the strongest love cannot thrive when effort is no longer mutual. Today, she moves forward with a renewed sense of identity, no longer defined by the role of rescuer or anchor, but as a mother, a professional, and a woman reclaiming her life. The Hollywood fairy tale may have ended, but Nicole Kidman's story is far from over. It's a testament to endurance, self-respect, and the courage to let go, even when it hurts the most.